We just hiked in on this fairly overgrown mining road, and I know about this site because a local and another mine explorer tipped me off to it. It's not on any map, but it is obviously a mine. You can see the friend of a mucker right here. And there's supposed to be a mill. I was told there was a mill here, up there. And the mystery here is that none of the others that visited found underground workings, an adit, or anything. So if there's a mill, there's got to be a mine, especially out here in the middle of nowhere. You see rail right there, which is another indicator. So hopefully I can succeed where the others did not in finding an adit, hopefully an adit, finding an adit out here. Pretty good complex of buildings here from the looks of it. Let's check these out and see if we can find an adit in this blackberry mess here. Building there, there, and this looks like there's a generator in this building. Obviously not the first people here, but not many people have been to this one. This one is pretty off the beaten path. You can see the wood rats know about this one. Unit generated, Hobart Brothers. This has that on switch. That's huge. Got some concrete mix. I always see concrete mix in these mines for some reason. Guess there's a lot you can do with it. I'll go see what the deal is with these. We just looked inside the generator building over there, if you can even tell where it is. Big quartz boulder in front of me right here. Some metal scraps tossed up there. And oh, actually a Heineken can. Usually we see Coors Light or Bud Light, but these miners stepped it up a bit, or I should say mine explorers, that's probably more recent. Hear a wasp buzzing around. This room's pretty empty. Except for some old nails. Bunch of bolts on the ground there. So I'm guessing this was the workshop, since you can see the outline where the tools were supposed to go. Grease, hammers. Don't know if you guys can read this or not at home, or wherever you're watching this. Hacksaw. Yeah, I'd say workshop's a pretty safe bet for this. It's probably a first aid. The color made me think first aid, but that is way too heavy duty for first aid. There's your Miller High Life. There's the Bud Light. We just visited that workshop and have come up to the mill here. You see ball mill down there. We'll take a closer look at that, obviously. Standing next to a large jaw crusher here, which means that the ore was coming down from somewhere up there. Hard to say where in that blackberry mess, but somewhere up there. This is a chute that has collapsed. So obviously the ore would come in from somewhere up there. That could be a grizzly or the remains of a grizzly right there. It's kind of hard to tell that everything collapsed. Anyway, to run through the chute into the jaw crusher. After the jaw crusher, got it to a fine enough mix. It would drop down to this conveyor belt here, which would, I'm assuming, yeah, which would drop, drop there, which would feed into the ball mill. And when we get down there, we'll see what would happen next. Ball mill down here. Still has the belt right there. See that? It's still intact. View of the guts. I crossed over. Here's a better view. The crusher up there. View of the ball mill right here. So after the ore would be crushed up in the ball mill, it would be fed. See that pipe right there? It would flow, the mix would flow down to that table right there, and that's called a shaker table, and it would shake violently and separate out the gold. View back in the ball mill. Closer look at the shaker table here. Piece of quartz right there. And after going through that process, pretty much done. Well, it's just done as you can be in a place like this. The buildings are down there, and you gotta really fight through the brush to get to it, but there's a road that's sort of hidden back here. It seems promising. There's some quartz right there, and somebody did some work to build this road, obviously, given the way it's carved in the side of the hill here. So promising that there might be something back here. Seeing more chunks of quartz and such. So let's see what's here. As anticipated, this road did lead somewhere interesting. You can see it's taking us to a nice waste rock pile here. And what caused the waste rock pile is an adit, which you can see right here behind me. Now, to guarantee that we're going to find something, we all left our waders behind. And when you get to a site like this, you never know if it's going to run back and go around a bend and be caved. So we convinced our buddy to go in barefoot to do some reconnaissance and make sure this is worth going back for. So using a drop in barefoot and see how it looks.
Roll your pants up. Oh, I will.
We did look in, and the water's crystal clear. There's a rail running back. Water's not too deep, but deep enough that you would want the waders. So we want to make sure it's worth it before making the long hike back to actually get the waders. And this is why it's great to go in a team. Send the mine exploring intern in to check it out. There's the adit right there. Word came back, it's worth getting into, so we're gonna hike back, get the waders, come back and explore this. As long as I'm here, I just want to give you a quick overview of the size of the waste rock pile. You can see the rail comes out of the portal here, and you have the remains of a trestle right there that has fallen down the side there, but that waste rock pile runs all the way down there and all the way over there even. So it's a pretty big mine, obviously, and who knows how much the creek has washed away as well. So that holds good promise. And there's a big yellow thing, you probably saw when I was panning by, a big yellow thing back there I'll go check out. Kind of hard to tell, but the portal is just right in that depression right there, and I came over to see what this big yellow thing was. Probably a generator or compressor. I haven't opened it up yet. Got a tow hitch right there, and I thought something interesting is that it's obviously optimized for towing because they even have taillights and such on it, which you don't normally see that on a generator. The brand looks like Schramm. I'm not familiar with that brand, but I'm sure somebody will look it up for us. Look inside. Obviously the wood rats have gotten to it. And there's a good view of the creek down there, and see how steep it is back here if you see those cliffs running up that way. Pretty rugged country. Don't get many mine explorers back here, that's for sure. Some more rail tossed back here. Just inside the portal here, looks pretty solid ahead. Can't tell how far it goes, but obviously we'll find out. Something running off to the right here. Looks like it dead ends right there. Timber support there. We've got something running off to the left. Little chamber here with, it's got a blast sheet in it. Some pretty solid timbers through there. And keeps running back as far as I can see that way. Let's stick with the main one for now. Little pocket right here. It's a bit mucky, but doesn't go anywhere yet. And there's a little interesting side chamber right here that looks like they just had storage stuff here. Strange how they carved that out though. That ties into the one we were just looking down on the left. Didn't really expect to see that in here. That's not something you normally see inside of a mine. Got some hoses on the left here. And we keep shooting back. Kind of cool to see the rail here. There's a boot print there too. This probably worked in the 80s or 90s. Okay, it's getting pretty messy up there from the look of things. Somebody gouged out a section right there. Looks like some waterproof clothing right there. It does get wet in these. That's not looking too hot up ahead at all. That was carved out and backfilled. See a drill mark right there. That is not looking optimistic for me at all. This runs off there. I can't tell if it's caved or not. Well, obviously caved, what I'm saying is can't tell if it's accessible or not. I think it might be, but I don't feel like climbing over that yet, so I'll revisit that one. First, I want to size up this other one here. It goes off to the left as well. I'm knocking out the easy stuff first here. Those are some pretty frail looking timber supports right there. This one is very muddy here. I am not optimistic about this one. Yeah, this one's done. No go on this one. Pretty soft material back here. Not really surprised it caved. Looking back at, just up in the mud pits. Looking back at the portal. We got this running off to the left. Good. I thought it might just stop. This looks like a cave stope. No rail here. The rail is gone. This remains of some timbers here. This looks backfilled. There was something there, but it's filled in. We'll shove it there. They had rail in here at one time. I can see the divots from where the ties were. There's some rail right there. The drift keeps running back that way. There's a winds here. There's some stuff over here. Looks like another winds too. Look at that quartz. That's obviously what they're after. There's quartz vein right there. Yeah, see how that runs down and bends down? That's plunging underneath all this. So I would assume if you look at the way that vein is running, look at the way that vein there is running, I'm assuming that drops down, following it down. Little pocket right there. I don't know what's going on here yet. Huh. Well, this was supporting something that has caved. See the rotten lagging and such right there. It looks like someone was really motivated could crawl up there. But it's not my turn to do something crappy. It's somebody else's turn. I earned a bunch of turns yesterday. So I'll let one of the other guys climb up to that one. If I can even convince them to do that, I don't even know if I can do that. That's very tight. And actually, it kind of looks like it ends back there. I don't know if you can tell, it looks like the light's bouncing off the face right there. So not too sure about this one. Now, going back to that other drifter, it went straight. Talking about over here. Just realized this timber here is an oak tree. Looks like a black oak from outside. That's kind of cool. I don't think I've ever seen oaks from the outside use as timbers before. So there's that wind here dropping down. That's a mess. That one's an absolute mess. My buddies have caught up to me. It's not a ghost in the background. More of the vein action right there. Running along. Bunch of slabs have come down from this section, which looks like they stoped out a bit of it there. And that just looks like another chamber right there. All right, my buddy just went back there and said it's caved. There might have been a winds on the floor. They could have just been picking away at it. It was hard to tell because it was, what was wrong with it? It was all muddy.
Just filled with rock and water.
Filled with rock. He said there might have been a drift going off to the left a bit farther, but again, that was all backfilled or caved as well. So didn't miss anything there. We'll go back and check out the stuff we missed on the way in. Still pretty impressed with those black oak timbers though. That vein just over my head here. So we convinced my buddy to come back here, and to my surprise, and he reports that there's nothing back there. It's just backfilled.
This is a terrible method coming out.
Yes, it is. That's horrible. I'm glad you did that. Thanks for a great video. See what we do to get in these mines and explore them properly. Good job, man. Back at this main section here that was caved. Gotta check out this one on the right now. It runs up there. Still not my turn, so my buddy's checking this one out. It looks like it might be a stope or something, but you gotta check. Is it a stope or what?
That ends.
Alright.
It's a big pocket.
Gotcha. That's the section of the mine we just checked out. There's the shell offer right there. I'm back in this chamber near the portal. And if you'll recall, we have not looked down there yet. Bunch of wood stacked here. Interesting timbering here. Kind of an intricate pattern. It's pretty decent timber. Cap and post system. fairly solid. This is the little chamber we looked through to from the side. That's where we looked through before, right there. Still fairly high through here, as you can see. This chamber runs back to that direction. A lot of rotting wood back here, but I guess we're close enough to the portal. The oxygen meter's happy. Looks like there are a lot of sulfides here. I haven't seen a sign of recent work in this section. I thought that might have been rail. It's an airline, looks like. See some drill marks. Case in point right there. Bends around a bit. Cleared out a little pocket right there. Yeah, lots of sulfides back here. And it looks like it might face out. It's a bit stinky back here. Nice slab action. Came off right there. See where it delaminated. Just climbed up from the drift there. You see a little bit of quartz sprinkled in here. There's actually some quartz in the slab that broke off. Looking ahead, faces out right there. There's some quartz up there as well. And a little stringer vein overhead. But this section obviously must not have paid off too well, otherwise they would have kept chasing it. Looks like some serpentine back here. Possibly, it's hard to tell in this light. But it's very shiny and kind of greasy looking. Alright, I think that's it. The buildings are back that way, and we're just looking around, making sure we didn't miss anything. Sort of along the creek here, followed it up through the blackberries, and actually found something really cool hidden in the bank right here, partially consumed by the bank. Believe it or not, that headlight is actually still intact, which is just amazing to me. And then I think even more cool is the grill. That is really, really cool. There's a bucket, some other twisted up bits of metal here. There's got to be a good story about how this got here. I'd love to know what it was. Meanwhile, we're going to keep looking around, see if there's anything else. Looking around the area some more. We've been coming up the hill from there. Found a couple old cars abandoned out here in the woods. There's this one, and there's another car up there, and there's a piece of one over there. Look inside. Yeah, probably have to charge the battery, but should run no problem, right? It looks like a VIN number right there, or a precursor to a VIN number, vehicle number. I don't know if anybody's able to look that up or not. You can see the other car down the hill. Come up on this one. This one's in slightly better shape. Looks like we have a Corvair here. See the COR. Ah, actually, the license plate's still there. ADT. Well, ADT obviously must stand for Add It, right? Look inside. There's a view looking at it from the back. You do have to wonder about the life story of a vehicle like this that causes to end up abandoned out in the forest. Probably a good story. There is a view down on the buildings we were checking out before. And there was more stuff over here that I'm gonna fight through this sea of invasive blackberries to get to. This is not a lot of fun to walk through, but probably better this time of year than in the summer. We were checking out the buildings over there. I've come through the blackberries, and you can see there's a trestle here. I'm also standing on a huge pile of rail. It's kind of hard to tell all the blackberries, but this is rail that I am standing on. The pile is probably 3 feet high, so it's a good amount of rail. And like I said, this is a pretty decent trestle, or I should say it was a pretty decent trestle in terms of size and apparent strength. And it runs off toward the cliff of serpentine right there. So I would think there would be an adit over there. I'll go check. There's a trestle there running toward the serpentine cliffs. Now you would think there'd be something right there because trestles normally go somewhere, but instead we just have these cliffs. So maybe something ran around the side. We'll cruise over there and check. Behind me here, there's some wood scraps and metally bits and a little pile of quartz right there. So there could be something back here, but there's one way to find out, which is to go check. So we'll go along the edge of these cliffs here and see what we can find. Alex is hiking up the cliff there just to make sure there's nothing else up there. This is pretty back here. Serpentine's pretty.